Hi, and welcome to the first episode of my video blog. My name is Gary. I currently work for a mobile phone company. Have done for the past 4 years. I'm also a musician. I like to write a little bit. And I really wanted to start a video blog. I didn't really know what to make the blog about, so I guess just as a little introduction, I'm a great lover of movies and of music, so I thought what I'd just like to talk about to start with, as a kind of ease into the blog, it's just my love of movies and music and where that came from. So as a kid, I remember me and my dad went to the cinema, and I'm trying to think as far back as the first movie that I saw, and I think that it was Ghostbusters 2 at the cinema, and I do recall it vividly, not only because I was very excited. It was a big, fairly big cinema. It was a fairly old cinema. It was obviously in the 80s. And or early 90s, and the lights went down and there was this feeling of anticipation, and as soon as the film begins, you have these big speaker systems all around, that really add to the overall effect. You can feel the bass of an explosion. You can feel a lot of the big exciting things that are happening, and that's part of the experience for me. But I also vividly remember it because there was a gas leak halfway through the movie, and we were ushered out. Everyone had to be ushered out, and we were given free tickets to go and watch another movie, and we couldn't go whilst Ghostbusters 2 was on. So for years, because at that point there was no internet, I had to wait for the video to come out. So I didn't see the end of Ghostbusters 2 for a long time, but we couldn't go whilst Ghostbusters 2 was back on. My dad was busy working, which he did quite a lot of. And so we took the free tickets and went to see Back to the Future 2, I think it was. It could have been 3, but I think it was Back to the Future 2. And that was kind of my earliest memory of going to the cinema, and it's at that point I kind of fell in love with movies, and that chance to escape, and that 90 minutes, 120 minutes and longer, where you can just immerse yourself in a completely different reality, and a completely different world to one that you're currently in. And that really resonated with me on a personal level. So my school time wasn't particularly great. I didn't enjoy being at school. I didn't really, I kind of stood out a little bit at school. I wasn't with the in crowd. I was terrible at sports. I liked listening to rock, metal music. I kind of wasn't like everyone else. And so that 90 minutes or 2 hours of escapism for me was my solace. So it really resonated with me, and it was from there that I really started to enjoy movies. When it comes to music, it's pretty much the same. So my dad, again, I don't think my dad was a big film fanatic. I would class myself as a fanatic. He probably wasn't so much. He enjoys films, but he was probably more so into his music. And so he, again, every Thursday or Friday evening would come home from work, and he'd maybe do this on every week or every fortnight. He'd bring some vinyl home, and these vinyl albums would be of all sorts of style and genre. So sometimes it'd be Motown, sometimes it'd be soul, sometimes it's the Drifters. He'd bring home some Meatloaf, There might be some Bruce Springsteen in there, the Eurythmics, Tina Turner, David Bowie. And I think it was just, kind of what he could get his hands on. So my musical upbringing was a very eclectic one, very eclectic. Because, these albums were of all different genres, but what it taught me was that there are two types of music, good and bad, as far as I'm concerned. And if it's good, it doesn't matter where it comes from and who sings it. It's good. And if you enjoy something, if you like something, or like it, I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I'm not a fan of guilty pleasures. If you like something, go and like it full throttle. Don't conform to this punk idea of, having a guilty pleasure or being made to feel guilty that you like something that isn't considered to be cool. Nah, fuck that. Absolutely. Go and like it. And that's what my dad bringing those albums home taught me. I can like things that people perhaps wouldn't consider to be cool. And it doesn't matter. You can go and like those and not feel guilty about it. And it's that early upbringing into all those genres of music that give me now what I would consider a very, very close affection to music. I spend a lot of my day listening to music. If I'm not listening to it, I'm playing music. If I'm not playing it, I'm talking about it or I'm writing it. Albums as well have a very special connection for me. So particular albums that may have been released in particular years when things have happened have kind of stuck with me. And when I revisit them, they remind me of those things in life. And I'm sure that's the same for most people that listen to music, that have a real affection for music. It doesn't go as deep as to go into the psyche of who wrote the music and think about what they were thinking when they wrote those particular notes. That's something for a music degree. That's not as deep as this goes. But what I like is the fact I can put an album on, it can immediately take me back. Perfect example. I was getting tattooed in November by the very talented Rebecca Vincent, whose husband Lee drums in Pulled Apart by Horses. And we went in about 30 minutes in, and Turing Brakes comes on. Turing Brakes' first album comes on, the stereo, and the first note I immediately recognised and said to the guy that put it on, "Mate, that's Turing Brakes." And it reminded me of when I moved in to my first house with some very close friends that I was in a band with at the time. And that album was the album I went to sleep to of an evening, every evening for probably a year or two. And immediately, all of these memories, I had not heard the album in probably 2 or, 4 or 5 years maybe. And all these memories came flooding back about all the times in the house, first moving in, how we had absolutely nothing. We didn't have sheets on the bed, the cupboards were empty, we had no food. We were 19, 20 years old, we were kids, all living in this big house. But all these memories came back, and all the parties that we had and all the good times and great times that we had in that house. And that's the power of music for me. And in some instances, movies as well, they can have the same kind of power. Those are the two biggest things, that I love, movies and music. So that's a bit of a background for you as to why I love them. Going forward on this blog, I'm not sure what more I'll be talking about. Maybe some movies, maybe some politics. I may do some tracks. I might play guitar and do some tracks and things like that. But yeah, welcome to the video blog. I hope you enjoyed it. And please leave some comments if you want to, just underneath. You can do that. And if you can share with your friends, then hopefully they will enjoy it too. Thank you for listening.